Make channels for the streams of love, where they may broadly run. And love has overflowing streams to fill them every one. But if at any time we cease those channels to provide, the very fonts of love for us will soon be parched and dry. For we must share if we would keep this gift all else above. We cease to give, we cease to have, such is the law of love. We cease to give, and we cease to have, such is the law of love.
This is a new day. This is a new day full of sound and light and expectation. This day has been waiting for you. This day has been waiting especially for you, to embrace you, to guide you. This day has been waiting with open arms just for you. This is the day we have been given. Let's not waste it. Come now, and let us worship together. Welcome, everybody. My name is Reverend Joseph Boyd. I welcome you directly into this beautiful sanctuary on a rainy and cool Youngstown day. I'm streaming live to you directly in your home from across the United States, from California to Colorado to South Carolina to New York, to across the world in Brazil, the Dominican Republic, and other places. Streaming live from one of the best cities in the world, Youngstown, Ohio. This is a special church. We have been here for over a century and consistently have been here on the north side to stand in solidarity with the marginalized. We have proudly waved a Black Lives Matter banner to signify this place as a sanctuary and a place where we can all learn what it means to transform racism into the beloved community. We have waved a rainbow flag to let the whole community and now the whole world know that love is love, and we will do what we can to make that love possible for all people. We have a number of really wonderful things that are happening in this church. And if you'd like to hear about some of those things, you can just in the chat box say your name, your email, and weekly update. And we can give you a long list of activities that are happening each and every single week that you can plug into completely virtually. One of those activities is we're working on a voting effort called UU the Vote, Unitarian Universalist, the Vote. Basically getting the word out to disenfranchised community members and helping them register to vote and remind them to register to vote and give them the tools to be able to do that well. And this is completely done virtually through Zoom, and also you can do this from your home. So if you're interested in this, you can also put your name down in the chat box and just say voting. And Karen Lapidus, who is the organizer for this, will contact you and plug you in to this great effort. Also, we're going to have virtual connection cards available in the chat box. So if you're new to us, or if you've been watching for, I would say, the last 3, 4, 5 times, and we don't know you yet, we would like to get to know you. So down in the chat box, you can click on a virtual connection card, and you can put your name and the best contact info, and just a little bit about you, what brought you to this service, what interests you, topics that interest you, what your needs are during this time. We would love to get to know you better. So again, that's going to be down in the chat box. On Saturday, September 19th, that's going to be the following Saturday at 9 a.m., we're going to have a work party here at the church to help with the grounds. So this is going to be 10 o'clock next Saturday, and this is going to be outside, and there will be proper health protocols followed with wearing masks and being properly distanced. So if you'd like to come to 1105 Elm Street, which is the brick and mortar church where we stream from on Sundays, and you'd like to take care of the grounds, the lawn, we have a flower bed, et cetera, and you'd like to help maintain that, come next Saturday at 9 a.m., or 10 a.m. rather, if you're in the Youngstown area. On Tuesday, September 15th at 9:30 a.m., there's going to be a special event called Race, Social Change, and Music. It's going to be hosted by leaders in the Youngstown community, including myself, and it will be a time to talk about the connection between art and justice and how that can feed us and rejuvenate us and renew us during this time. That's going to be in a separate Zoom link. So again, if you want to be part of that and hear about that event, down in the chat box, put your name and weekly update, and we'll send you the weekly update with the Zoom link information included for that event. And many of you probably have heard this by now, but in case you haven't, our church is going to be merging our religious education program with the nearby Kent Unitarian Universalist Church for a virtual program. So this is exciting. We haven't seen anything like this done before, where we're going to virtually join through Zoom with about 80 other youth in Kent, Ohio. And so it'll be classes divided with 2 teachers in each class, divided up by age group. And we still need 2 volunteer teachers to help with this. Kent has been very gracious to us and has welcomed us in and is very excited to partner us in doing this. But if you would like to help in any way, we would definitely appreciate you. Again, this can be done wherever you are across the country and across the world. And if this interests you, please put your name down in the chat box with religious education and your email, and we will definitely get in touch with you. And I'd like to say a few words about our outgoing interim director of religious education, Mystery Wallace. Mystery has been with us as a member for over a year and has been in this position as our interim director of religious education for just about a year. And Mystery has just been a great pleasure to work with. Mystery has brought so much warmth and enthusiasm and knowledge, and she has brought a real willingness to experiment during these times. Even from Nevada City, California, where she's been our interim director of religious education. She has been a great resource for our families and for our children, and has experimented with ways that we can use technology to serve our families during this time. And we are just so appreciative of you, Mystery. And we are so glad that you are a member and that you will continue to be in touch and plug into our programming. And we have a nice gift we're going to be sending you in Nevada City, California. So please keep an eye out for that. And now, without further ado, Mystery Wallace for her final announcement as our interim director of religious education.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Reverend Boyd. I wonder how fast the mail will get here. So Reverend Boyd took most of my announcement, which is fine. I just want to reiterate that we're starting our new joint program today. The links are in the order of service. The general children's RE for kids through 8th grade is at 11:30, and the youth group, which is really, really active, doing lots of social justice work in the Kent area, is at noon. They are particularly looking for volunteers or helpers with the youth group, which is different than helping with the kids. And I think that sounds fun to me. If you're interested, please let me know at dre@uuyo.org, or you can email Reverend Boyd or Colleen Thole, whose email should be in the system and is the person that leads the Kent Church RE. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone for including me in the UUYO community. I have moved back to California, which is where I am originally from, and going to Ohio and moving to Youngstown in particular for college was very, very different. Not all bad, because goods and bads, but just very different. And I was living in the dorms with 17 other teenage girls. I guess I am a full adult now. And I really wanted to talk to adults with similar views, so I took a walk. I saw the pride flag, and that's how I ended up at UUYO. Yeah, I am just so thankful that I got to have this experiment. It was an experiment. I meant to say experience, though. So in the future, I just wanted to encourage everyone to continue to support the RE program and whoever the next director of religious education is. Things are changing in this world, and the population of Youngstown is changing. There's a new election coming up, and things are going to be in turmoil. So I just encourage you to do the very best you can to support our families and the church as a whole, because the children are our future. So thank you, everybody. If you have any questions or comments, like I said, you can contact me at dre@uuyo.org. Thank you. And now to Adam for our chalice lighting.
Good morning, everybody. What is renewal? When thinking about renewal in the environment or societal systems, I always like to use the term regenerative instead of sustainability. Sustainability is not really an accurate descriptor because it confines us to the status quo, does not allow for the renewal we really need. Nature creates a greater sum of its parts through interconnected systems while drawing additional energy from the sun. And unexpectedly, the Mahoning River has been renewing itself through microbes that were given enough time to lend a helping hand and break down the pollution from the mills. During the same time, our community has been percolating ideas about the future, how to move ourselves forward in a positive way, but the scarcity mentality has kept us from thinking about what is possible. But what we can do with what's left. The valley, humanity, and the earth are ready for renewal. Let us continue our path towards regenerating a better world and light the fire of renewal. Thank you.
If you would now all join me in reciting the covenant of the church, which can be found in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Each month, we choose an organization that is working to make our community a better place. And every month, we give 100% of our loose collection to this organization to support transformation in our community, which is the heart of our mission. This program donates its undesignated collection at Sunday services to one specific charity per month, and UU's giveaway the plate recipient for September is PFLAG Youngstown. Youngstown Area PFLAG, which stands for Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, is the Youngstown chapter of PFLAG National, which is the United States' first and largest organization uniting parents, families, and allies with people who are LGBTQ+. As a former steel city in Northeast Ohio, Youngstown had virtually no organized gay community in the 1980s. Youngstown Area PFLAG was founded in 1989 by Joe Bordeaux, an AIDS risk reduction specialist for the Youngstown City Health District, as a safe space for gay men. Under the leadership of John Edwards in the early 1990s and to the present, the Youngstown chapter has expanded to support LGBT people, their family members, and friends. The Youngstown area P flag is now led by Marguerite Felice, our UUYO member, and proud mother of both a gay and bisexual son. The Youngstown area P flag hosts monthly meetings for members and invited guest speakers, partners with organizations to provide education and advocacy in support of LGBTQ+ community, and regularly volunteers at community events to show support for our local LGBTQ+ community. This year, the Youngstown area P flag is partnering with many community organizations to register people to vote and encourage everyone to make sure that they have a voting plan. You can make your donations to Youngstown area P flag and or the church by visiting UUYO.org and clicking the Give Online button on the website. Or there's also a link that has been provided in your order of service or weekly email. So we now receive the offering that sustains the life of Youngstown, the Mahoning Valley, and our wider world.
As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh sisters, let's go down, come on down. Oh sisters, let's go down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh brothers, let's go down, come on down. Oh brothers, let's go down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh mothers, let's go down, come on down. Oh mothers, let's go down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh fathers, let's go down, come on down. Oh fathers, let's go down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh sinners, let's go down, won't you come on down? Oh sinners, let's go down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way.
In a new church year, it is right that we honor those that we have lost in the last few months. So I'd like to read the names of a few people in our community who have lost loved ones and their loved ones' names. And I know what I'm reading is not an exhaustive list, so feel free, you can also put names that you know of in your own life down in the chat box, which we will hold during the meditation. We'd like to hold the parents of Carmen Mataguidas. Carmen Mataguidas, her parents lived in Florida, and both died from COVID-related illnesses. Their names were Fernando and Marilyn Mataguidas. We hold Randy Cox. Randy Cox's mother, Patricia A. Cox, passed recently in Rhode Island from a stroke. We hold member Jim Stone. Jim Stone's brother, Fred R. Stone, passed 2 weeks ago. And we hold the brother of member Sharon Streener. Her brother, John Streener III, passed due to COVID-related illness in New Jersey about 4 or 5 months ago. So let us hold all of these members and their family members in our hearts. And again, I'm sure this is not an exhaustive list. We have many people in our community I know who have lost people. Feel free to put their name down in the chat box, and we will hold them now in our meditation. Again, we hold the families of Carmen Mataguidas, Randy Cox, Jim Stone, and Sharon Streener, and all others who are grieving during this time.
I was right. That's part of the dilemma of being an American Negro, that one is a little bit colored and a little bit white. And not only in physical terms, but in the head and in the heart. And there are days, this is one of them, when you wonder what your role is in this country and what your future is in it. How precisely you're going to reconcile yourself to your situation here, and how you're going to communicate to the vast, heedless, unthinking, cruel white majority that you are here. I'm terrified at the moral apathy, the death of the heart, which is happening in my country. These people have deluded themselves for so long that they really don't think I'm human. I base this on their conduct, not on what they say. And this means that they have become, in themselves, moral monsters.
Well, Jim, I can see.
It's a terrible indictment.
Yes.
I mean every word I say. It was a great shock to me. I want to say this on the air. The Attorney General did not know.
You mean the Attorney General of the United States?
Mr. Robert Kennedy didn't know that I would have trouble convincing my nephew to go to Cuba, for example, to liberate the Cubans in defense of a government which now says it is doing everything it can do, which cannot liberate me. Now, there are 20 million people in this country, and you can't put them all in jail. I know how my nephew feels. I know how I feel. I know how the cats in the barbershop feel. A boy last week, who was 16 in San Francisco, told me on television, thank God we got him to talk. Maybe somebody will start to listen. He said, I got no country, I've got no flag. Now, he's only 16 years old. And I couldn't say you do. I don't have any evidence to prove that he does. They were tearing down his house because San Francisco is engaging, as most northern cities now are engaged, in something called urban renewal, which means moving the Negroes out. It means Negro removal. That is what it means. And the federal government is an accomplice to this fact. Now, we're talking about human beings. There's not such a thing as a monolithic wall or, some abstraction called the Negro problem. These Negro boys and girls who at 16 and 17 don't believe the country means anything that it says, don't feel they have any place here on the basis of the performance of the entire country.
So,
I don't think, put it as simply as I can, and without trying now to investigate whatever the motives of any given Muslim leader may be, it is the only movement in the country which we can call grassroots. I hate to say that, but it's true. Because it is only, when Malcolm talks, or one of the Muslim ministers talk, they articulate for all the Negro people who hear them, who listen to them, they articulate their suffering. The suffering which has been in this country so long denied. That's Malcolm's great authority over any of his audiences. He corroborates their reality. He tells them that they really exist,
Jim, do you think that this is a more effective appeal than the appeal of Martin Luther King?
It's much more sinister because it is much more effective. It's much more effective because it is, after all, comparatively easy to invest a population with a false morale by giving them a false sense of superiority. And it will always break down in a crisis. It's the history of Europe, simply. It's one of the reasons we're in this terrible place. It's one of the reasons that we have 5 cops standing on a black woman's neck in Birmingham. Because at some point they were taught and they believed that they were better than other people because they were white. It leads to a moral bankruptcy. It is inevitable. It cannot but lead there. But my point here is that the country is for the first time worried about the Muslim movement. It shouldn't be worried about the Muslim movement. That's not the problem. The problem is to eliminate the conditions which breed the Muslim movement.
Let the river run, let all the dreamers wake the nations from the New Jerusalem. Cities rise, the morning lights, the streets that meet them, and sirens call them on with a song. I'm asking for the taking, trembling, my heart is aching. We're coming to the edge, running on the water, coming through the fog, your sons and daughters. waters, we, the great and small, stand on a star and blaze a trail of desire through the darkening dawn. It's asking for the taking. Come with me now, the sky is the color of the blue you've never seen in the eyes of your lover. Oh, my heart is aching. We're coming to the edge, running on the water, coming through the fog, your sons and daughters. We, the great and small, stand on a star and blaze a trail of desire through the darkening dawn. It's asking for the taking, trembling, shaking, but oh, my heart is aching. We're coming to the edge, down by the water, coming through the fog, your sons and daughters. Let the river run, let all the dreamers wake the nations of the New Jerusalem.
The prophet Amos in the First Testament in the Bible demands to let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like ever-flowing streams. I've been reflecting on all that has brought us to this moment that we're alive in. I've been reflecting on the momentum, the thrust forward to usher in a new day when our democracy might become real. I've been reflecting on the children, parents, those who have lost loved ones, retirees, all those who have made this moment possible. It's a moment that has become a movement, and many are wondering where this movement is leading us and if it's somewhere we really want to go. We see violence and hatred in the streets, and at the same time we see mostly peaceful protesting that has now reshaped sports franchises and our understanding of what has been long overdue. Over the last 6 months, we have been moving the conversation forward through our collective action to reconcile with our past and imagine another future, another way forward. We have been engaging in a conversation through our actions about what is necessary, what is worth doing, and what is worth abstaining from. Each of us, regardless of our social location, has been asked to take another look at how we have been living our lives. And we have been challenged to see what is truly worthwhile about this life and what is worth letting go. Many have been forced to let go of those who meant the world, whether they were killed by police, caught up in a pandemic, or simply caught up in the great reality that is true for each and every one of us, that the price of living is death, sooner or later. The way we spend that time matters. It matters to have a community like this to help offer presence and support in times of grief and times of joy, times of birth and times of death. and every important transition in between. We are alive, and living is more than an academic matter. I still get this gnawing sense that we haven't got down to the real nitty-gritty yet. The threats we witness to our families' health and to the health of this nation. I feel we are still only aware of symptoms and not root causes. We see the symptoms of disease, but we have yet to discover the root. And we must not give up until we discover that root. For it is in our discovery of that root that we will truly know what is necessary and what is unnecessary, what is ready to be let go of, and which roots are in need of water as they seek to thrive. James Baldwin in the interview points us toward a fundamental question that gets to the root of many of the troubles we are witnessing in this present day. It's a basic question, and often the most profound and liberating questions are simple. So simple, they are easily missed, overlooked. The question he poses is, why do we need to think of anyone as inferior or less than? This is a children's question. Such a basic question. Why do we seem to need to view anyone as inferior? The answer to this question is less important than the thoroughgoing reckoning with the question itself. The question is like a mirror, and the more we spend time at the mirror, the more we're going to see, the more we're going to notice. If we look at the mirror long enough, we'll see the contours of our face, the contours of our body, and we'll see the environment that we're in that gives our face its contour, that gives our body its shape and view. We will see the person that we call ourselves. It may seem that looking at this mirror would be a hellish exercise, but it doesn't need to be. We can feel joy in discovering what is necessary and what is unnecessary. There is great relief and great joy in being able to surrender the root of our suffering and water the roots of our happiness and thriving. There is a great freedom in being able to see what was always there right along, right in front of us, but was missed or seen only partially. It would be tempting to want to take a step back from this mirror when we see things that we don't like to see. It would be tempting to retreat backward into an image we had of ourselves and of our life 6 months ago. It may be what we need to do, however. I honestly don't know, and I'm really paying attention over the next few months to see. Personally and as a nation, we may feel that we need to take a step backward, even turn around, or just stay where we are, frozen, more or less in a status quo for the next 4 to 8 years, unable to dare discovery of what truly awaits us if we stay at this mirror long enough and allow what we see to change us, work on us, and transform us. This is a big year. That's an understatement. For anyone, regardless of race or social location, this has been a year that every citizen across the globe has registered as a significant year in their life. That has never been true in my lifetime, until now. We are seeing that the hope of our democracy rests in our ability to face who we are now and who we've been for a very long time. We see now that racism is only a symptom of something much larger if we have the willingness to stay with it. We see how an economy that benefits a small minority of citizens seems to only work by making others' lives less than safe and dignified. Why is that? Do we need that? Do we need to keep doing things that way? These are the simple questions we are being asked to face. If what we're doing is not working for a majority of people who live on the margins, why do we need to keep doing things this way? Again, the answer to this is not as significant as being willing to stay with these questions long enough to transform us, to work on us, to change us. We are mostly water, biologically. Just like how smaller bodies of water, streams, rivers, tributaries flow into larger bodies of water, I think we have the same instinct built into us. We naturally want to go home, towards something larger and expansive. If we are given the ability to flow and move, that is our natural instinct. We are given that ability right now. We are given the ability to be who we naturally are, which is something larger and more expansive than any of us will ever know. We are given the opportunity to grow into who we might become as persons, as a nation, as a world. Will we retreat backward, back into old habits and ways of viewing our lives and the lives of our neighbors? Maybe. But it won't feel the same as it once did. It will not feel real. And we will be forced to either continually distract ourselves from this fact for the rest of our life or choose another path forward. We'll see this time not as an end, but a beginning of a new life that is waiting to emerge, that includes you, it includes me, and it includes the stranger. The beginning of a new life where the stranger becomes our guest instead of our enemy or our scapegoat. A new life when the victim becomes a hero and those who are incarcerated in body and mind are set free. A new life where the gates of opportunity are opened not just for a precious few, but a multicolored humanity, a family of plant, mineral, and animal, a family of water that knows the only way is forward, flowing towards something larger. This month's theme is renewal. It is renewing to be who we naturally are and to allow justice to flow down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. We refill our bodies with justice and righteousness every day, with every sip of water we take. Do you know how long you can live without justice and righteousness? 3 days. Like water, justice is necessary for life. You'll need at least a few drops to sustain you. But we can do better than a few drops. We've built dams to justice and righteousness. We've created a democracy that is more often a dam than an overflowing, ever-flowing stream. We've created an economy that dams most of our people. And we've created the myth of the inferior stranger. Why do we keep doing this? Is this necessary? These are our questions this year. These are the questions that will allow us to be who we really are and allow us to do what we need to do. It can be tempting to think that we need something else to renew us, to engage the path of justice and righteousness. But when we drink from the waters of justice, we are renewed. When we take in the ever-flowing streams of rightness in the midst of wrongdoing, we are renewed. We are sustained. And we are together. One. All of us. Thriving and given the potential to thrive even further forward together. I now would like to go to Sarah Lowry, who is going to be leading us in our water communion ritual that we usually do this time of year.
Well, good morning, everyone. I will say this a couple of other times, but if you have not yet got yourself a glass of water and some other container, a small jar, please take a moment to do so now. So that glass of water doesn't have to be full, but enough for a drink and a little left over. And an additional container can be a jar, something that you can pour water into. So as Reverend Joseph said, this Sunday would be our church homecoming, which is recognized and celebrated by the water communion. Traditionally, many of you may remember that we would be asked to bring water from all kinds of different sources, and we would then pour them together into a large vessel to symbolize all of us coming from many different places back to church, back together, back home for another year. And I am sure that we will have one heck of a water communion in next year, hopefully, when we're able to be back together again. But in the meantime, as we have had to do for so many things this year, we're going to reimagine the water communion and make it meaningful in these troubling and often draining times. This year has been a challenging year for so many reasons. As soon as it seems like we're able to duck out of the downpour, that the deluge is letting up, the clouds just might be parting, the next wave of the storm crashes in. In light of the present that we have found ourselves in, we will be participating in the water communion again a little differently and use it as an opportunity to replenish ourselves as we keep making our way along the long journey towards becoming a community full of love, health, and justice. Water is a symbol of so many things that we need right now. Water gives us life, hopes for new beginnings, fresh starts, clean slates. Water restores us, revives us, and recharges us so we can accomplish the short and long-term missions in our lives. So much promise and potential is held in even the smallest glass of water. So as Reverend Joseph mentioned, before we complete our ritual, again, if you haven't already done so, please find a drinking glass or a mug or a cup or a tumbler and fill it about halfway full with drinkable water. Next, in addition to that glass of water, if you have a jar or other small storage container that you can use to pour water into, please have that ready next to you as well. If you have some kind of jar or container that has special significance to you, all the better. So together we will drink from our glasses or mugs or cups or tumblers to refill and replenish ourselves. Then we will pour a little of the leftover water into those other jars or containers. These acts are symbolic representations of our need to first take care of ourselves so that we can save and share our gifts with others. So, hopefully you've been able to secure yourself a glass of water. We are going to drink a drink of water together. When you do this, take a moment to really feel the water leave the glass and enter your body. Feel the texture of the water. Feel the texture of the glass on your lips. Notice the temperature and the taste. So now we drink. And now we're going to save together. When you pour your water into your glass or other container, take a moment to observe the water fall. Listen to the sound that it makes. Notice the clearness, the color, the light reflecting as you pour. Since we have the freedom to reimagine ritual and to do things a little differently, I'd like to invite you to continue to perform this little ritual every day. Of course, to take a drink of water to replenish yourself, but also to pour a little bit of the leftover water into your jar or container. These simple life-sustaining acts hopefully will act as reminders that we must, of course, and first and foremost, remember to refill ourselves, but also to set aside some of our energy to allow us to continue to march forward towards justice, to continue to side with love. With every sip of water we take, we refill our bodies with justice and righteousness every day. When we drink in the waters of justice, we are renewed. When we take in the ever-flowing streams of rightness in the midst of wrong, we are sustained, we are regenerated, and together, in this way, we will thrive.
Spirit of love, which flows into justice and righteousness, please renew us in body and spirit on this day. Help us to see with a beginner's mind, to look at ourselves and our world with fresh eyes and perspective, and to develop the courage and patience to stay with the image we see long enough to transform who we are and the world that we live in. Please help us to rely on our fellow community members, as well as the earth which supports us in every step. Please help us to be grateful for the gift of breath, which animates us and the entire world toward justice. All this we pray. Amen.
Though below me I feel no ocean standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never a harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens and our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never a harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we meet again.
As you depart, please remember the one great fact: you are loved and never truly alone.
So when you get ready to do your last song and then you realize that you don't have the number of it written down on your page, then you have a little bit of a lull in the service. So this is called Jeff looking up in the table of contents, "We would be one." And without my glasses on, this is an exciting little adventure here, trying to see where "we would be one," what number that is. So I'm going to just take a moment here, if you'll bear with me. And I'm just going to look it up. I apologize for the break. And here we are. We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we would know today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which bends our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service with love and justice, strive to make us